Reiju is a new leader that just came out of OP06 and it has done well and won many events during the first week all over Asia. Its unique playstyle and strong effects are the reason why this is one of the more popular decks to come out of OP06. So in this video I'll be talking about the deck strategy and combos, my deck and winning deck list from Asia, and finally tech cards that you can play in the deck. Let's start off by talking about the leader. Reiju is a blue-purple leader with 5k attack power and 4 life with the Vinsmoke family and Germa 66 trait. Its effect is once per turn during your turn. If your Dawn is returned back to the Dawn deck, you can draw a card. This means that if you were to play a Queen, you'll draw 3 cards instead of 2 cards. Because to activate Queen's effect, you need to return a Dawn, and that's when the leader's effect activates. Also, as we know, usually leaders that have drawing effects tend to do really well, like Rebecca, Whitebeard and Purple Luffy, and based on the results from week 1, this theory seems to be proven. So there are 2 ways to play Reiju. The first way is to build it with blue and purple good stuff. The other way, which is the most effective and has the most win, the Germa package. In this video, I'll only be talking about the Germa variant. The strategy of the deck is to play the smaller version of these cards and transform them into their stronger version. This is the same as cheating out characters with 4, 5 and 7 Dawns during the first few turns of the game. You will also want to have equal or lesser Dawns than your opponent in order to activate this card's effect. This makes the mirror match for this matchup to be really interesting but at the same time tough if you're not prepared for them. Then you will also want to have some of these transform forms in the trash before you use this character's effect. Your win condition is to swarm the board, and you can easily accomplish this when you play down the deck's boss character, Judge. Next, I'll be talking about the list that I'm currently using, followed by a couple of winning lists from the first week of OP06. The effects for the newer cards will be shown on screen. Firstly, I'm playing 4 Kaya. Kaya is a 2k counter, but it's also a good card in this deck, because you want to dig out for your key pieces and then discard those cards that you don't need it. Usually you want to discard the transform version of the cards to the trash. Next, we are playing 4 Vinsmoke Sora, a 2k counter. Effect is on play. You can discard a card, and if your Dawn is equal or lesser than the opponent, you can return a Vinsmoke character card with 4000 or lower attack back to your hand. Next, I'm playing 3 Yonji. Its effect is -1 Dawn. Trash this card. You can play a 4 cost Yonji from the trash or your hand. Next, I'm playing 4 Vinsmoke Reiju. Effect is similar, which is -1 Dawn. Trash this card. Play a 4 cost Reiju from your hand or trash. Next is Niji. Playing 3 copies of Niji. Similar effect again. -1 Dawn. Trash this card. Play a 5 cost Niji from the hand or trash. And finally, the last untransformed form, Ichiji. So again, -1 Dawn, trash this card, and you can play a 7 cost Ichiji from the hand or your trash. Next, we are looking at the transformed version of Yonji. Its effect is if you have lesser Dawn than the opponent, it gains 1000 attack, and it is also a blocker. Next, we are playing 4 Reiju. On play, if you have lesser Dawn than the opponent and you have 5 cards or less, you can draw 2 cards. Next, I'm playing a tech card, which is Trafalgar Law. I find this card to be really useful in the mirror match, so I'm just playing 2 copies of it here. Next, I'm playing a new card from OP06, Tsuru. It is a 2k counter. Effect is on play, discard 2 cards. You can return 1 card from the opponent's field, but the opponent chooses what goes back to the hand. So usually you don't want to play her down, but in desperate situation and when your opponent only has a character on board, you can play her down to force the bounce. Next, we are playing 3 Niji. Niji has 2 effects. The first effect is on play, KO a 2 cost character or lower, and the other effect is return a 4 cost or lower character back to hand. The condition is you need to have lesser Dawn than the opponent. Next, we are playing 4 Ichiji. Its effect is if you have lesser Dawn than the opponent, give it rush and one of the opponent's character -2000. This is a really strong card, and I feel it's the MVP of the deck. Usually if you play the smaller version of Ichiji on your turn 2 or turn 3, it is really strong because you are essentially playing a 7 cost in the first 2 or 3 turns. And it also provides pressure with that rush ability. And finally, for our last character, we are playing 2 copies of Vinsmoke Judge. Its effect is on play, -1 Dawn and discard 2 cards. You can revive as many Vinsmoke character with 4k power or less. For events, we are only playing 4 copies of Germa 66, which is a searcher for any Germa cards. You can even search out for the stage, and the stage we are playing 4 copies of it. Similar to the effect of the event, discard 1 card, you can search the top 3 cards for any Germa cards. So that's the list that I'm currently using. So here are a couple of winning lists. Firstly, we have a list that went 4-1 at a flagship event. This one went 8-1 at a tournament in Japan, followed by the champion for this box tournament, and another one here. This one I believe won standard battle, this one as well, and this one too. So as you can see, most of the lists here have almost 80% similarity to one another. This is because the most efficient and effective way to play Reiju is by playing the Germa package. The only thing different from each list are the tech cards, which comes to the next part of the video. You can play some removals in the form of blue events like these cards, or you can also include more defensive events. Some characters that you can consider including will be Queen, 5 cost Kid, or even 4 cost Law. And as mentioned, I found Law to be extremely good in the mirror match, so you can consider him if you are trying Reiju out. If you've enjoyed this video, drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel. We are really close to hitting our goal of 5k subs, so let me know in the comments what you think of Reiju. Also follow me on Twitter for more One Piece TCG content. I'll be streaming the Tokyo Championship this weekend, so join in if you have time. I'll include the link to the stream in the description. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.